they're going to have questions. We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Magic Online Halloween Party. I am here with my really good friend, Johana Pansera. And, not only are we friends, but we get to create together and work together. And we've been kind of playing together for 4 years. Mm-hmm. Maybe, yeah, something like that, maybe longer. And through those times, every Halloween, this conversation comes up. We start to talk about rituals and all Hallow Eve and all this stuff. So I'm so excited to be here with you today and just to chat a little bit about like what you know, and what magic can we play with here today. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And please know everyone that's joining us, hello. If you're in the chat, feel free to ask any question you would like to ask, or if you have any information, if you have something you want to share, feel free to share.
Please do. It's awesome to get like input from whatever you're celebrating or not celebrating.
Right. Yeah. So tell us, so you're in Sweden, right? Yeah. And you were saying that until recently, Halloween wasn't even what you guys celebrated.
No, exactly. I mean, it's just kind of the last maybe 5-ish or more years that, especially for kids, picking it up. And in Sweden, since we don't have that, or at least we're going to come back to that, but at least for a long time, we didn't celebrate in this way. So it always creates this total confusion of what day is it to go trick-and-treating, like, because the parents don't know, because the parents didn't do it. So there's always this great confusion of, when is exactly Halloween? When's the day to go trick-and-treating?
That's incredible, because my reality growing up, like, I was trick-or-treating before I could walk, right?
Yeah.
So to be a parent being like, oh, what is that day where you're supposed to go trick-or-treating?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's applicable from the outside more than like it's just in your veins, like it is for you, I'm sure. So our traditions from, I think it started in the 50s after the Second World War, because there were traditions of lighting candles on the graves. So that's been kind of the thing that we were doing. And before that, it was more like when we were Christian, it was like the Catholicism in Sweden. So saints and martyrs are a very big thing. So that was kind of the day from the beginning, All Saints Day. And then by we had this Martin Luther, so we're more like Protestants in Sweden. So then it became more like All the Souls Day or the Saints Day, but more of the past loved ones that we celebrated. But it's kind of funny, because when you look at it backwards, like way before in the Celtic and the Viking ages, we used to celebrate kind of more like the Halloween, like the Wiccan holiday of Samhain, that some say Samhain is the origin of the name Halloween, and some say it's All Hallows Eve.
Oh,
so who knows? And that's very interesting.
Yes.
But I always find it fascinating that there is so many things that kind of connect us in, like the rites of passages or the celebrations of the seasons changing, and the more of the connectedness with the energies of the earth changing or the life changing. I always find that very fascinating, that you can look into all kinds of corners over the world, and we're celebrating kind of in the essence the same thing. Like in Mexico, they have this, Dia de las Muertes, where they have these ofrendas, the altars, where they celebrate their past relatives, and more like a joyous celebration.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's my son.
Is he okay?
Yeah.
Okay. She's got the sweetest son. I've just seen him a few times and I adore him.
He's cute.
Yeah, he's super cute.
I'm just gonna text him while you're speaking.
Okay, and I'm gonna highlight something that you actually said, which was kind of very cool, to tap into these celebrations happen at a certain time every year, which correlates with the earth changing. And so the way that you said the earth changing had this really cool energy to it, because as we know, like there's all this orbiting going on, there's this moving closer to the sun, there's all the things, right, all the sciencey things going on. And to actually acknowledge the cycle, the change that the earth is having. And then people all around the world celebrating or honoring or acknowledging that change in their own different ways.
I feel that sometimes what we call the pagan traditions or the savages traditions were kind of more in tune and connected to the earth, because it was more like they have more like the polytheistic kind of mindset. They have the different gods for the different energies, and maybe sometimes for the different seasons even. And as opposed to more the top dog kind of religion, when you have one god and he's a very strict person and you have to follow the rules, more like something applied from my point of view. I hope nobody just gets totally offended, but just take what you want and leave the rest. From my point of view, often religion has been used kind of historically as a source of power, like before politics, kind of the same kind of thing. With rules and regulations, and we are above you and we tell you what's a sin and what's good and how you're supposed to live.
Right.
But with the polytheistic gods, I'm sure they had their kind of say and their traditions and their rules around that too. But it was more like you could kind of pick your own, or it differed around the year of what kind of season it was and stuff like that.
So let's talk about, one of the things I find fascinating about Halloween, All Hallows Eve, or what was the other?
All Saints Day.
All Saints Day. But you said another one.
So All Hallows Eve.
You said Halloween maybe came from, it started with an S.
Samhain.
Yes.
The Celtic. Yeah. It's spelled Samhain. So most people perhaps say it's Samhain, but it's actually pronounced Samhain.
Samhain, like Halloween. Cool. So we look at these things and they're all around. So this time of year, and it's about, people that have passed.
And originally it was also a celebration of the crops, because it's kind of the end of year, like the fall is coming in and the crops will not grow anymore, depending on where in the world you are, of course. And also kind of creating for the future to kind of be happy and grateful for what you have been given, and kind of sow a seed into next year. Let's have good crops next year. Into the future.
Sow a seed into next year.
So that kind of year in Sweden in Viking times was kind of a winter blot, an offering to the gods for getting good things. So please the gods, so they would give you good crops the next year, because otherwise you would die, literally.
We couldn't ship things in, huh? Like you could just go to the local store. Totally different reality.
Much more dependent on what the earth would give you, actually. So much more in sync with having gratitude for what you were given, and not like this kind of greediness of having more than you actually need, perhaps.
I want to just quickly say hello to everyone that's here with us. Hello. Hi, Twy. Hi, Aiton. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Linda. Hi, Mark. Hi, Leonie. Hi, Cass. And Cass put the spelling in there for us. That's so awesome.
Ooh.
So if any of you guys have, I just want to say it again, if you have any questions, this magical woman here she loves history. She works in the educational field, and she loves traditions, and she has so much to share about this topic. So if you guys have questions for her, or if you have your own stuff, your own awareness, please share.
I would love to hear or read later on how your celebrations are in your part of the world, or if you don't celebrate. like in England, they don't celebrate Halloween in that sense. I mean, in Ireland, they have the origin, like the jack-o'-lantern.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but in England, they kind of more celebrate Guy Fawkes Day, which is a completely different thing. Like
what is
celebrating? Guy Fawkes was someone who was trying to overturn the Parliament in the 1600s, and they have that kind of crazy celebration where they have bonfires, which actually come from bone fires, like firing. Yeah.
What?
Yes, setting the bones on fire. That's bonfire from the beginning.
I did not. You know what? You use these words, and you don't always know where they come from. That's
no,
cool.
I know. Well, I like that kind of stuff. What does it all mean? Why did someone decide to name it that way? Where does it come from? What is it related to?
Wow,
I find that
cool.
interesting. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. And if you've seen the movie Coco, I mean, that's for sure the Dias de los Muertes. And they have these funny traditions I've read about. I've never been to Mexico, but I've read about that they give each other little skeletons, and preferably in the deceased ones, the loved ones, what they liked to do. So if they liked soccer, then it's a tiny little skeleton playing soccer or something like that. It's hilarious. And they have this breads and candies looking like skulls and bones and stuff.
Wow. And what a different, I'm in Canada, North America, like such a different perspective on death, after death, afterlife, and all that kind of stuff. And really, we don't want to look at like bones are scary, bones are evil, like, and to have like decorated.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because when you say that, I was thinking about like in Mexico, they ofrendas, and when they celebrate like that, it's like coming together and meeting where their past lives. And here we have the thinning of the veil, like it's a scary thing, but they have a completely different perspective of, oh, good, great, now we can see each other again and celebrate. Like it's more like celebrating the life that they had and what they enjoyed. Some even, or as I've read at least, I don't know if it's true, but that they have like this kind of feast, sometimes even in the graveyard or at their ofrendas, and eating the things that that person liked and enjoyed. That's so nice. I like that. It kind of not keeping them alive, but keeping the memory and the sense and the energy of them alive. Really like that.
I really like that too. And it's you can still receive. Like you're receiving from, because they were in your life, you adored them. They no longer have the same body. But you could still receive and you could still give to them, and like having that celebration. That's so cool.
Almost like an invocation of their energy, kind of connecting with them again. I like that. We do this kind of separation so much in the Western world. Like if they are deceased, oh, so sad. And it's sad in some sense, but I mean, you have them in here or around you, or like whatever capacities you have. Like it is not really gone. You just can't touch their body. Yeah,
absolutely. So what a cool invitation to something different. There's a question in here. Hi, John. Oh, John Ashford's here.
Hi.
He said this is beautiful. So Cass wants to know, can you tell us more about Denmark's traditions and how do you celebrate with your family?
Well, I think Denmark is pretty close to Swedish. I'm not totally sure how they do it in Denmark, but I guess it's close to Sweden, at least before. I don't know if they do Halloween like we do, because the American culture seems to seep in very much globally in many areas. So before, I think they have had more like the way that we did it in Sweden, and many people still do. I mean, we go to the graveyard and light candles on the graves, and many people like clean up the grave and take away the flowers and kind of clear out and make it pretty for the autumn and winter season, and put the candles there and kind of sit there and remember them, but not like the Mexican way of celebrating of fiesta, but more like very somber, very more serious, and in quiet contemplation more.
Yeah. So what was that? So yeah, tell us about you growing up in Sweden. And did you do that with your parents? Did you go sit in graveyards? Do you light candles? Like, what was it for you?
Well, we didn't do that much, because my grandparents lived in like 60 miles away, or Swedish miles, like 600 kilometers away. So not very often at that time of year did we go and lit candles on their graves, actually. It was more like a kind of quiet, taking it easy and being not just overly serious, because we weren't very religious in my family, but like not very celebrating, actually. We were going to the church more on the Christmas, because it was more kind of fun.
Yeah.
All the lights and the psalms and the nice singing and stuff. Aww. I liked it more when I was young.
Yeah. I bet. So did you, Jermaine says hi. Sorry, I got squirrel. Hi, Jermaine. It's a magical, amazing person that lives in Oregon that I got to meet a year ago at a Zip and Magic class, and John's with him. Hi, guys. And then Mark says, I used to be so scared of anything spooky, and now I think that it's cool and interesting, and he loves these stories. That's so cool.
Nice.
Yeah, you have to really wonder how much that fear is in plants.
For sure.
Where you could have a whole culture that is in celebration, that is excited for the thinning of the veil thing.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. And then you have this other whole culture that's like,
yeah. And I mean, not to bash religion, because I know it's a comfort for many people, but often, like the more monotheistic religions have kind of not kidnapped, but they have kind of taken the older traditions and made them into church traditions. And then, of course, you have to kind of talk bad about the old ways to get people to do the right ways in some perspective. So
what are some
many
of those?
Church, I mean, for the All Saints Day is, of course, a kidnap of the Samhain, or the old traditions of, I mean, if you look at, they have even found when excavating old Viking graves and stuff, that they are placed, that the entrance to the grave, they have made these hills or kind of stone entrances. They are facing the east-south direction, where the sun sets in that time of year, and found a lot of shards of pottery and stuff. So it might depict that they were actually also kind of visiting their loved ones. Very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
We have that kind of, that's where it becomes interesting also for me to see that we have had some kind of general need, or kind of want to celebrate in similar ways around the world, that we want to have special rites of passages, special rituals for remembering our past ones and things like that. I find that very interesting.
Yeah, me too. So cool. So Karen says there's no Halloween in Taiwan, nor any American holidays, but here in China is adopting American holidays now. Oh, that's fun. I would love to know, Karen, and if you can share, so this time of year doesn't necessarily have to be the day of Halloween, but is there something that you guys do in Taiwan that has to do with those that have passed? I'm just curious if it's like a global awareness about this time of year. Let us know, Karen. Oh, she said we have lots of ghost stories and spirit stories or legends in Chinese culture.
Yeah, they do. And with the dragons and old ancestors and stuff, that's a very big thing there.
Yeah.
Don't piss off the ancestors. That might be bad. Right?
I think that's the fear. I think it's you know, it's so interesting. And coming to, so you and I both play with something called Access Consciousness, for those of you that don't know. And hearing the description of entities, the conversations, the communication available really changed my whole reality with you know, ghosts and spirits. And it's been so cool to actually be able to give those tools to my kids so that they don't have that fear. They don't have to, you know, and then they still like, so there's something about this Halloween time where I think they want to be a little scared. Like I wanted to too. Like it's kind of fun to kind of like wonder about like something surprising you and something jumping out. And
and it's more like almost like more like an excitement or exhilaration of the unknown, like tapping into mystical, magical possibilities more than fear, I think. Like it's that tickle in the stomach, like like that's more like exhilaration, I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful and some people do need like a stronger dose, so it looks more like they like to be scared.
Yeah.
That's what I perceive it as.
Yeah.
It might be totally different for someone else.
No, I like that. And actually me and John Ashford that's on here, when we were doing his cooking show, he's talking about loving like horror films and loving like the suspense of it and that exhilaration. And it has an aliveness to it. It can feel really like, you know, alive and fun in your body. And I love what you said about the unknown. Like there's these mysteries of magic within the traditions and within the world without bodies.
And I feel like maybe that was part of why people were also having these traditions of and talk about it like the thinning of the veil, like making hidden possibilities more available to us. Maybe that's part of the allure also to like the excitement of that kind of, I mean, how many lifetimes have we lived through and have had that celebration already like imprinted into us, like this is the time of like where anything is possible. Like and also connected to the seasons, there's so many like old beliefs like, oh, now the earth is going to be frozen, so all the earthbound kind of spirits and sprites and perhaps always the past loved ones have to return down into the earth and come up in the spring. That's old beliefs, at least from Sweden, that all those forest creatures and the spirits and sprites and the earthbound people or creatures and energies were kind of had to go down into the earth and come up where we celebrate with a bonfire in the 1st of May.
Which we now know is a bonfire.
Yeah, exactly.
So can you talk a little bit more about that? So that was from, they would burn bones. Was it part of, my mind goes to burning of witches. Like that when I hear that, like bonfire.
But not for the Guy Fawkes. I'm not totally well read on the traditions of Guy Fawkes because I never lived in England, so not totally into that. But that what I mean. Also from later traditions of burials, they used to burn the whole body. They send them out. Vikings send out their dead ones, at least the prominent ones, the warriors, in their ships out into the water, and they burn down the whole thing, the ship and the body.
Wow. And it would be a big bonfire.
Yeah, a big bonfire.
Big bonfire.
Yeah.
check in here. Leonie says, thanks for this conversation. It makes me long to watch The Mist of Avalon again. Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Is it a good one? Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie, but I've read the books.
It's all
about like apprentice witches and stuff.
Oh, that sounds like something I would love.
Yeah, I think you would.
So Karen says, Chinese have a ghost month in August or September. Oh, a whole month. Oh, that's so cool. Wow. She said when her mom was dying, she had a huge funeral procession waiting for her for 2 years. Whoa, because she kept nearing death and then would bounce back. So the procession would celebrate, then sit back down again to wait. But the final week, she saw them and asked me if I steamed enough buns for everyone.
So cute. A lot of cultures have that. They have to feed the people. Like it's a big thing in Italy also. Like you have to have food, and the big mama cooks for everyone. And you want some food? Like it's not even a question. You have to eat.
You have to eat. Well, and that's actually very interesting too, because we look at having a body. One of the things you do is you eat, you sleep, these are the things, right? Mm-hmm. So to like have to eat is almost like what the energy came up for me is like proving that you still have a body, or like showing like I'm still doing the body stuff.
That's right. Never thought about that, but that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Proving that you're still here.
Yep. I'm not there in that casket.
Wow.
So Leonie's laughing. Some people like a stronger dose. # not me.
# not me either. I take it in very small dosage. I'm very attuned to, and I can perceive a lot of energy, so I don't really need the volume up.
John's got us all beat.
Yeah. He's a badass in that department.
Yeah, he is. Nothing scares him. I had the pleasure of going to New with John, and we took graveyard tours, and it was so cool. We went on a voodoo tour, and it was really dynamic. And
around this time of year, do they celebrate like Halloween, or do they have their special voodoo traditions?
Well, actually, Halloween's a big thing. I learned in New Orleans. So voodoo is a religion, which I didn't know. Thought it was all these.
Wicca is also a religion. It's actually in the lists of it's renowned. Do you call it that when you acknowledge it as a religion?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Never mind. Keep going.
and we were invited. It was like, oh man, because we were leaving like maybe a week before Halloween, our last trip down. And we were invited by our tour guide. He's like, I don't normally do this, but like if you guys wanted to stay, I would invite you to what their traditions and their experiences and what. And I was like, oh my God. And he was such a cool guy. Like he was really awesome. So John and I talked about like going down one year and around Halloween, and that would be very cool. Yeah, because they have their own, celebrations and traditions and rituals. So you love rituals.
Yes.
Right? You were saying, yes. Tell me more. Tell me more about what you love, or what are some of the rituals that you find really fascinating?
Well, mostly the ones that are more in communion with the earth, actually. That's why I like the older religion or pagan religions more, because it's more in sync with and in harmony with the earth, and not like putting yourself on top and trying to dictate things. It's more like playing with the earth. So and also I find it very interesting that there are so many things through old traditions and like the church then kind of snatches them or make them their own, that there are so many things that go way, way back. So there's something that seems to be like almost in a way, a need for us to have some kind of rites of passages, because we see it all over the world in all different traditions and cultures. And wherever you go, even in the far away in the bush, some tribe that never met anyone else, they have their own rites of passages, and usually around birth and coming into adulthood and whatever kind of marriage you have, or family traditions, or like death and dying, and for crops and prosperity.
Yeah. So can you? Okay.
Yeah. No.
I was excited to hear a few examples, like of rituals that you've read about or have even partaken in that have that like rhythm of the earth that are.
Yeah, I mean, we had in the olden days, and also that is part of the Wiccan, the year of the wheel of the year, that we have the winter blot. I mean, first there is the Samhain, that is around this time of year, and then they have the midwinter, that's kind of celebrating that the sun is coming back, like what's that called? The winter solstice at that time of the year, where the new light is coming in. And also in the spring, like I was saying about the 1st of May, when the earth is coming to life again and celebrating. I mean, they had crazy traditions around prosperity and sexuality to kind of have that, what do you call that? The ripeness of the earth, to give good crops and babies, and like to invoke the fertility.
Oh yeah,
both of the land and of the people in that time of year, like in the spring.
Oh,
and
that's
also
so
they
yummy.
had, yeah, it's awesome. And they had summer celebrations, and also in autumn. I think Lugnasad is kind of in the same time sphere, I think, as Thanksgiving. When do you have Thanksgiving?
Well, Canadians had their Thanksgiving this month in October, and in the US, they're about to have their Thanksgiving in a couple weeks from now, I think, in November.
It's also interesting that we have the time slot different, because I mean, the ripening of the crop is different in the southern hemisphere than in the northern, and wherever you are on the globe.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what's actually really cool talking about this, because I've looked at traditions and rituals a lot with my kids. So for example, when I was married, you know, we would do, so what did you do with your family? What did I do with my family? And we would do both. That was just kind of
cool.
Yeah. And then when I separated after a couple of years, I realized that I could create anything. Like I didn't have to follow some traditions. So but I started to actually explore what traditions, what rituals would I like to have with my kids. And we would try some stuff out and play with it. I mean, we never really make anything solid or significant, but what you invited me to today, and I just want to point this out if anyone else wants to, like, I'll have some of that, I always had this little sense that something was kind of lacking. And what I've just realized, it was the inclusion of the earth.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Cause it's one thing, like, yeah. So like, especially, so here in the fall, we trick-or-treating, going, you know, dressing up, like there's not actually a lot of people that are like Canadians that are not part of another culture that are going out thinking that they're going to see, you know, someone from the other side. They're not like dress up your kids, eat candy. So even the candy, the chocolate, like it's not even like earthly, you know, like harvest and having like these big meals. It has like this totally different, almost a detachment of the earth.
Yes, exactly that.
Yes. And I'm like, oh, this is what's been missing for me, is this inclusion of the earth and the traditions that I want to create. And even at wintertime, at Christmas, and all that kind of stuff. So what, like if we were to craft new rituals and new traditions,
I love this.
Yes. And from the play and the joy of it, it doesn't have to be significant or even solid, you know, you do it until it's not fun anymore. But what inclusion of the earth and bodies and all of that could we have with these?
Wow.
Yes!
I love what you said of not making it solid, because that's what usually kind of makes me jump off any tradition. Like they make it too rigid. You have to have the green candle this time of year, or now you have to have the black candle, and you have to say these words, and you have to face this direction, and it's too much. You have to, and it's not coming from like a sync or connection with the earth, because that shifts and changes. It could not possibly be the same way every time at the same time of year. I mean, you could kind of hone into a specific energy of, at this time of year, I like to celebrate the past ones, or at Christmas, I like to celebrate the magical possibilities, or whatever it is that you kind of put on to that time of the year. But I love the invitation that you said to not make it solid, more like, oh, what would it like to be this year? What would we like to incorporate this time? What does the whispers of the earth tell us now? What would my body love to do? Yes. Because the body is also part of the earth, right?
Yes, I love that. And just even acknowledging, like, you know, you go through life, you've had you've experienced autumn, fall, like so many times. And there'll be similarities, but no season is ever the exact same.
No, and you're not even the same.
Yeah. So all this sameness and trying to do things the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scrap it. Be a little wild.
Yes, be wild. Leonie says Indonesian tradition is to eat.
Oh, really? That's fabulous. Maybe it's because the crop is kind of very rich. A lot of traditions have that in the end of the crop year, kind of the celebration of the, what do you call that? The abundance of food. So you can kind of eat. And also in some parts of the world, like in Sweden, it was kind of good to prepare the body for the long cold winter, that you kind of had to add on some fat. Yeah. Some isolation for the cold.
Yes, totally. And have the food when it's fresh, you know?
Yeah, like exactly.
Yeah.
Because then we had so long time in Sweden, or we still do, but we have refrigerators now, so we can keep the food fresh, but we didn't. So a long time it was just like dried up things that you have to wetten down. And I mean, that's not the same.
No, that is not the same. So yeah, it's the celebration of eating and the celebration of, your body getting all that pleasure from all the food.
Yeah.
Karen says her mom was royalty. She's 36th generation from a king.
Wow.
Oh, no wonder she had.
I wonder what kind of rituals and celebrations they had.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, people are, Leonie's saying the same thing, the rigidness of saying the right words to invoke magic, all that stuff, not really for her. No. And then she said, oh, maybe it was just my family.
Nah, I don't think so. You're being a humanoid, I think. Not very keen on rules.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it doesn't breathe then, does it? Where you have to keep something strict and you have to follow something. It doesn't breathe. It doesn't, the life is not kind of flowing in and through and from the earth and from you. There's not the same aliveness and richness in it.
Yeah, which is so interesting because tradition, like even the word tradition, I actually want to look up the definition.
Yeah, do.
Right now.
Please do.
Tradition. It has like something that it's traditional. We do it. So the tradition is the customs or beliefs of generation to generation, the fact of being passed along.
Yeah.
Right. And so you could look at that from that structured thing, but what if it could also be like an energy passed on? Like, so if it was, so with Halloween, All's Hallow Eve, a celebration of those that have passed, like there can be like, we have to do these things because it's tradition, or there's this, hey, this is an energy that we notice around this time of year. We celebrate this. How would we like to celebrate it this year?
Yeah.
So the tradition is more of the acknowledgement of something and and the presence of something rather than the form and structure of following traditions.
Wow. I just got this vision of seeing or sensing all the ancestors way back to the start of life, kind of like who came before, like being behind me, like having my back, and like how many bad and good decisions have been made for me to be here. Like that's almost impossible. That's kind of freaky fun, right? Kind of gives you a free card to do whatever the fuck you want, because it's like impossible for you to even be here. Like every little decision or choice, like for thousands of years, conscious, anti-conscious, unconscious, good choices, bad choices. That's crazy.
That is, wow. It's very vast when you look at it. Yeah. So what a fun holiday. And you guys maybe post this, and if you see this later, I'd love to hear what are your traditions? What are your rituals? And how do you go about, like, when I look at that with my kids, like, you know, every year I ask questions about it. Like, what would this year like to be? And now I'm going to include the earth. So I'm so excited about that. But it really has that energy of creating it as greater every year rather than doing the thing that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I like that.
Me too.
Really like that. I would love to hear if someone gets like an idea, or like share if you got like ideas for how you would like to do the rituals or your traditions now, or if you have your own that you have created. Like for me, when both my parents died, we had to reinvent Christmas. Like, how do we celebrate now? What new traditions can we have? And like me and my kids, we don't even enjoy the traditional food for Christmas. So we're kind of leaning in more to the Italian food tradition.
Fun!
That's what we like. So there's no ham or herring in our home. No sausages. No. I don't enjoy that.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And I think a lot of people, they hold on to traditions as though that's the only way to honor. But what if,
I think that's
what if the most honoring thing to, whether it's this time of Halloween and you're celebrating or honoring those that have passed, like what if the most honoring thing that you can do for them is just to be present?
Yeah.
And then have joy, like, and whatever it is that creates joy.
What do we wish for our kids? Come on, we want them to be happy and have joy and like be like this full of life, embracing life. That's whatever would we wish for. I mean, I would certainly love them to fuck all traditions if that made them happy.
Yeah, totally. You don't like that, you don't have to do it.
No, choose your own adventure, kind of.
Choose your own, like those books.
Yeah.
Cass said traditions from the Latin meant delivery, surrender, and handing down or giving up.
Giving up. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. And
whatever
Alyssa
that brought up.
Yeah, let's clear that. Alyssa said, I wish I knew my great-grandmother's Cherokee way. That would be fun to reconnect to. Well, wonder if you talk to her. what could be possible.
I bet some energy of her is in her.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I find it fascinating too to learn about these traditions and rituals, and then not necessarily you like have to now take it on. It's that curiosity. It's like when you learn about someone, right? I learn about you, and I learn about what you're interested in, and I'm so excited, but then I don't like have to make it mine.
No. It's more like a smorgasbord. Pick and choose whatever you like, and you can nibble at them things and try it on and see if you like it, and then you don't have to carry that on to next year if you didn't like it.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I think it enriches. I mean, the more I learn, I guess I have a hungry brain also, but the more I learn, I mean, yeah, the more I learn, the more choices do I have. I mean, it kind of just adds on to the wonderful mystery of life, really.
Yes. And isn't that funny? Because I have a thirst for consciousness. Like I just I'm like more.
Yeah.
And we talk about the mysteries of life, the mysteries of magic, the mysteries of the earth and of the world. And as I reveal more mysteries to myself, I never get to the place of like, well, I'm about to finish the book. It's like it for me opens up like, oh my God, this opened up a whole nother door. I didn't even know this door was here, and I can't wait to go into this door and discover more.
Yeah. Oh, there's another room in the library. Wow, what books are here?
Yes.
That kind of sense.
Exactly. And I know I love that you have that as well. And it's like, what if getting a sense of the mysteries, actually becoming aware of what is mysterious, gives you more mystery, not less. Not a dull, predictable life. It actually creates a more magical, wondrous, unexpected
I think it's
life.
Quite the opposite, because the more I learn, the less I think I know, in a sense, like it's just kind of, it's like a room. First, it's like a small little closet, and the more you learn, it kind of grows and grows, and then it becomes like Hermione's bag. Like it looks small, but then its universe is inside. Oh my goodness, I didn't know you could go there. What else is there? Like that kind of sense.
Oh, I love that so much. Wow. The more you learn, the more you realize there's things you don't know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Cass Hepburn says, even looking at nature in the autumn, so many people think of it as a death, yet what is going on within the earth with the fungi networks, it's everything rebuilding and nourishing itself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really interesting. The kind of projections and expectations we put on these types of this time of year, these things going on, these traditions.
Very limiting, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's kind of like when you put on the goggles that can only see things in that light or that color, and then you can't see all the other things.
Yes. Good analogy. Good. Yeah, you are missing out.
Missing out.
And Karen said, I didn't create traditions with my children, and so great. I can now create whatever flows. Thank you. Oh, yeah, awesome. Absolutely. And from a new space of tradition where, I used to do like every year, do the same things with my kids. And then when those traditions went away, I remember being kind of upset. Like I was like, oh, I used to do this. Yeah. Like I used to have, I would get like hand painted, tree ornaments. Oh. And I had them and I had the year was on them, and I had like one from China my friend had given me and all these. And so in the separation, my ex took them and wouldn't give them to me. Mm-hmm. And so I went into a big, okay, guys, sometimes I'm not perfect. I don't always ask questions. Oh. I went into a tizzy. I was like, I can't do this tradition anymore because I've lost 5 years. Like, I'm like, and then
yep.
And I was so upset. I was so mad. And then the kids tell me that like a bunch of them got broken, and he broke, like, I was like, oh my God, he broke my tradition. And it was like, because I had this grandiose idea that when they were all grown up you were going to have a tree full of these ornaments, and every ornament was going to represent some year that we spent together, and the grandkids were going to have ornaments. And so there was an energy of it, but then there was also the strictness and the form and structure of it.
Yeah, and the projections and expectations.
Exactly. So when it died, I pouted so much.
Yep.
But when I got beyond that and I started to look at, creating new stuff and what would it like to be, and every year we don't do the same thing. Sometimes we've had years where I never even put it up the tree because we were going somewhere else for Christmas, and I was like, it's not like this year.
Last 2 years, we didn't have a tree. Like I always ask them every Christmas, what do you think is important for you to feel like it is a Christmas? Like what food do you want to eat? Do you want a Christmas tree? Nah, we're going away anyway, so we don't have to have that. Like just asking what feels kind of good this year, depending on the situation. Because like last year, they weren't even here on Christmas. They were with their dad. So what do we need a tree for?
Absolutely.
I didn't need it.
No.
But I was very lost the first year when both my parents were passed, because when just one had passed, we went to the other one to celebrate. So they weren't sitting there all alone on the Christmas. But then when both were gone, at first I was very lost. Like, what am I going to do now? Like, and then I just realized, well, now we can choose what the fuck ever we want. What's so bad about that?
It's the joy of choice. Yeah, this will be my first Halloween without the kids. They're going to be with their dad. So I won't be doing the trick-or-treating or any of those traditions. And then before I had kids, I would always go out like every year with my friends. And with COVID, like they're not going out, right? But I didn't even have a sense of loss this year. It was actually so cool.
Great.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, well, okay. I wonder what I will create. Like, I wonder what's possible. What would be really fun? What can I, and you have these elementals, you have this energy that's already here available. What do you want to create with it? And that's kind of what
there's a full moon, a blue moon this year. Happens every 76th year. That's crazy on the Halloween. That's crazy. How magical is that? What else could you need? Like, go out and stand naked in this moonlight.
That actually crossed my mind.
I didn't pick it out there of your brain.
I found it this morning. I actually just heard this morning a friend of mine, Julie O'Perkins, she's amazing, and she actually loves traditions and Vikings and shamanism and all that kind of magical stuff. And so she said to me, hey, did you know this Halloween is the first blue moon in 75 years? And there won't be another one and I was like, what? And that, normally in a month cycle, you don't have 2 full moons, but we do this year, and it lands on Halloween. And I'm like, oh, and not from the significance, right? You could go like, exactly. Oh, this is a very serious thing, and you need to find out the right things and the rituals. It's kind of like, how much fun can we have? Yeah. And so maybe it is naked moon dancing, possibly. I'm like,
possibly might happen here also. Might
okay.
I'm not promising anything, but I'm not ruling it out.
Yes.
Sometimes it's really good to have privacy.
Oh, I have so many ideas. So many ideas popping in my head.
And also, it's nice because it's creating with the earth and with the flow and the changes of the earth. I love that.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. Thank you for pointing that out.
The gift of COVID.
The gift. There we go. It keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Leonie said, can we start the dancing naked under the moon before movie night?
Feel free.
Feel free. Yes.
I might join in, but I'm not having my cam on.
Samesies. Yeah, how much fun can we have with all this? And I love your perspective. Johanna, about like picking and choosing, because like as we hear about, it can be inspiring. Like I never, like for me growing up, we never lit candles for anyone that would pass. I don't actually have anyone in my life right now I would light a candle for. Not that, but there's something really, I can perceive these different choices that we can make that would, and so I'm like, oh, lighting candles by someone's grave, that's really interesting. That has like a really cool energy, and what would that create? And I love graveyards. I think that they're very cool, and especially like very old graveyards.
Nice energies.
And then tapping into like the thinning of the veil, like learning these different rituals, and then are there molecules of that possibility I want to bring into to my day this year? Yeah.
I wonder if there are special blue moon elementals.
Me too. Well, I adore you, and I love talking about magic with you, and talking about about these traditions and rituals. Thank you. You have such a beauty with them.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
it's really my jam. I love these things. I think we all should embrace like more modern mysticism and making it our own. Like, don't follow any rules. Just make it your own. What's fun for you? Have the playfulness and the kind of joy with it, rather than the strict you have to.
Yeah, rules don't apply to us, rebels.
We're clever witches. We choose our own adventures any day.
Yes. Mark said, I'm worth lighting a candle for. Yes, Mark, you are, but you have a body. So if you choose to not have a body one day, I will light a candle for you, because you asked.
But I like that comment in a sense. Why do we always honor people when they're passed? I would love to light a candle for people that I care about, that I can't be present with. Maybe that's the COVID ritual for this year. I'm gonna light a candle for you, Cassy.
I'm gonna light a candle for you.
Oh, nice. I like that. I like that.
And when I'm dancing naked under the moon, I'll think of you all.
Yep. Sense-ating in, everyone.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun.
I love it.
I love it too. Well, thank you for being on here with me.
Thank you
everyone that joined us. This was really fun, really cool.
Please keep posting, like if you get like awarenesses or you have your own traditions or celebrations. I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just wanted to actually, so those of you that don't know, I'm so lucky that Johanna is one of the magical graphic creators that I get to work with. She's literally a graphic whisperer, and she will craft like, just beyond this reality things. And she made a whole bunch of Halloween screensavers we still haven't given the people. So we put in the description of this. It's just a gift from her. Johanna's gift is in the description. Yeah, Twila said that. So she helps me because she herds me as the kitten that I am. And so this is just a gift from her, so that you guys can have like screensavers on your phone of some magical Halloween, just some joyful things to kind of add to your life. So
just some funsies.
Yeah, just some funsies. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
for being so magical. And we'll see you guys on movie night. I think that's the next thing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye
for now.